but we do control our own borders. We do now decide as to who comes and who doesn't come, even if they're from the EU. So we do retain control of our own borders. I think the key point here is that if the UK exited from the EU, it is unfathomable, impossible to believe that we wouldn't have to have some free trade agreement with the remaining EU. And the nearest one that we can point to is Norway, which does have to accept the principle of free movement, even though they're not part of the EU. So I believe that this would continue regardless of whether we were in or outside the EU. But the idea that some are promoting, that if the UK came out of the EU, we wouldn't have any more EU immigration or EU freedom of movement. We could purely look at other countries or Commonwealth countries and completely relax the criteria for them coming into the UK is, I think, a fantasy. And I think it's a dangerous fantasy because I think it's encouraging some people to hope that they can bring over extended family members. It will be more easy to do that. There is absolutely not a shred of evidence to suggest that is true. And people who are making that point really need to say on what basis they're making it. Have they discussed it with the Home Secretary? Have they discussed it with other ministers? The answer to that is no.